He's editor-in-chief of Breitbart News and a New York Times best-selling author. And on this podcast, he brings deep research, prescient analysis, and world-class guests. He's Alex Marlow, and this is The Alex Marlow Show.
All right, everyone, welcome to The Alex Marlow Show. Glad to be on with you today because you know what? This is the calm before the storm. There's so much going on right now in the news that we'll be developing today, and we'll be tracking it all for you at Breitbart.com. We're on the verge of some big stuff. So it's election day in Florida and Wisconsin. These are really high intensity races. You guys heard me talk to Brad Schimmel at the end of last week. He is up for that seat in the Wisconsin Supreme Court. The winner of that race, if it is a liberal, they will have a majority. They will redistrict. They're actually running on a pro-gerrymandering position. So it's supposed to be a nonpartisan race, but you got one liberal, one conservative, Brad Schimmel, who is vying for the seat. And the winner of this race in Wisconsin is going to be able to be in charge of any sort of redistricting that's going on. So the liberals are making the case that they will be able to gerrymander 2 seats away from Republicans. I spoke to Matt Boyle about this on our Breitbart Fight Club show that we do, Breitbart Confidential, every day. And so that's available for you if you want a deeper dive on this stuff. But I talked to him about it, and the whole plan is to redistrict some redistricting that had already been done. So the Democrats redistricted, and then Republicans started picking up those seats, and then now they're going to redistrict again. So this is a party that's all about political victory. They don't have any first principles. You all know this if you're in this audience, but it's important to remind people of that because we've kind of blown through it in this thing, that the whole point is not to interpret the law well. It's not to be a great Supreme Court justice. It's not to be a great jurist and engage in great jurisprudence and really honor the people of Wisconsin. No, this is all about politics and being able to redraw seats in funky ways to benefit Democrats. So that's what's at stake there. And from what I can tell, Brad Schimmel has ran a terrific campaign, but it's not looking good in the polls. So it's probably going to be too late to get anyone out to vote by the time you hear this. But we will have results for you all night at Breitbart News, and it'll be interesting. I will tell you that. There's 2 other races in Florida, both of which are, I guess, only one's interesting. So the Matt Gaetz seat is not expected to be contested. So Republicans are going to win that. We'll keep that seat there. But I do think that there's something interesting about this seat in the Panhandle, which is that the Democrats are still raising tons and tons of money. They're outspending the Republicans. I think we just got fresh data on this at Breitbart, 6-1, which shows you their enthusiasm and their intensity, and their machine is starting to ramp up, which is it's worth considering. We have got to stay on a wartime footing. We've made this mistake in the past. We are not in a peacetime footing. We're in a wartime footing. And the Trump-endorsed candidate there, Jimmy Petronas, he was on Breitbart News Daily, which is our SiriusXM show today, and he talked about how he's being outspent 6-1. Wild stuff. So even though Republicans are going to win, he's going to win that seat. It's going to be no contest. But just know that they're getting fired up. They're getting motivated. The resistance is returning. I don't think they have quite as a coherent of a message as they've had in the past, but they're coming back, and it is worth noting their ability to get people fired up is not going to go away. I know they're on their back feet and they don't have a coherent message. I know they don't have any good leadership, but you are still going to see Democrats in a position where they can contest us. They just can. They'll figure it out. Trust me. The other race is one where I really have my eye on this. In some ways, this is going to be the most telling race because this is a National Security Advisor, Michael Waltz's seat, which is, I guess, in the Orlando area. And this is one where Trump won this district by 30 points last year. And yet the surveys are showing this as a single-digit race and perhaps even one where the Democrats could win it. If the Democrats win this, this would be a huge momentum shift. So the Republicans have to win because there's still a possibility actually Democrats could win the seat, and I don't like where the momentum is headed. The candidate, Republican State Senator Randy Fine, I want to be positive on the show, but I've got some reason to be skeptical about his candidacy that we get into a little bit on the Fight Club show if you want more detail on that. Not really the point because we need to stop Democrats. There's goal number 1. I'm very open about that. Stopping Democrats is the number 1 thing you can do to help this country in the political sense. And this race is going to be far too close. And it teaches you a lot of lessons about the Democrats being fired up, about the power of Donald Trump being on the ballot. When Trump's not on the ballot, then things can go badly for Republicans. It's just a big deal. So it is one to watch. We'll be tracking closely at Breitbart News, but we could be looking at a very positive shift in momentum again towards Trump if he's somehow able to eke out his endorsed candidates in the 2 Florida races and the Wisconsin race. And if Republicans do poorly, if they only win the 1 Florida race or they win both Florida races and one is too tight, then you're going to start seeing, I think, a real potential shift to the Democrats picking up some momentum. They tried it with the Signal Gate. I brought you those polling, the post-Signal stuff it didn't really seem like it worked that well, but they're trying to find their messaging and they're hitting Musk hard. They're hitting tariffs hard. This is another one where I'm going to mention we're in a calm before the storm type moment because tomorrow's Liberation Day. Trump is going to be resetting global trade. I'll tell you, I spent a lot of time with Trump and a lot of other people in the White House last week, or I guess it was the week before last. And I will tell you, the enthusiasm for trade and tariffs and for resetting global trade and looking down the field and looking at bringing back American manufacturing, looking at holding China accountable, looking at holding other nations that are sometimes hostile to us accountable was so high. It was really something that was heartening for me, because I feel like we need this hard reset on global trade as a non-globalist, as a non-free trader. I think that free trade all it ended up doing was it gutted America's middle. It ended up gutting our heartland. And I feel like having a bigger manufacturing presence is something that is really big for us. I talked to a representative for a major beverage company yesterday, and I was asking their take on trade because it's a big international company. It's owned internationally, and what their feeling is about the tariffs, and they love it. They love the tariffs because they make a lot of their stuff because they've got a lot of plants in America. So they're cool with it. So it's not one of these things where even the corporations aren't all universally against tariffs. A lot of them have already made adjustments. They've already made calculations, and they're going to continue to make calculations. They're going to continue to bring good jobs, manufacturing jobs, blue-collar jobs, are going to bring all of these back to the United States. And I think that's a big deal because that's what we need, I think, to be able to keep ourselves safe so we're not dependent on, Taiwan for microchips. It's not a good thing. We should not be dependent on cars coming from overseas, anything that has to do with food production, agriculture, all the stuff we can handle on our own. So that combo of tapping the energy sector, tapping our own energy sector, and bringing back a manufacturing base, encouraging people to be entrepreneurial in this country, bring back the pharmaceuticals, which is how on earth did we get so much of our pharmaceuticals, not just going through overseas, but going through China. Unacceptable. And that's why tomorrow will be Liberation Day and we'll have robust coverage for you on the show. I think I'm going to have Trish Regan on, talk to her about that. I might bring John Carney in as well. So we'll do a big money thing tomorrow, see how people are reacting. But don't get too worked up over short-term stock market issues. It was a mistake, I think, in Trump's first term where he ran almost entirely on the stock market. It seemed like that's not true. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But he really emphasized stock market as being a big deal. And I thought that was disconnected from a lot of his core voters. I think a lot of his core voters are more concerned with, do we have jobs coming back? Is there potential for competition for my labor so that my wages will go up? So where the corporations are competing for you, not you begging for them to stay. So I feel like changing that footing is big. Scott Bessent has said that other countries will have a chance to lower their tariffs and other barriers because they're doing reciprocal trade. They're doing reciprocal tariffs. So this is equitable. I think this is why we got to reframe it as equitable trade. You put the tariffs on at the same rate that we'll put them on. That's it. So if we're not going to impose tariffs, they're going to go beyond what you do. So I think that's a perfect message. And anyone who is not being honest with you about that is just trying to shill for this globalist religious worldview that so many people have had, including on the right. Because we all read those same publications, people my age and older growing up, that this myth of free trade was real. And it's not. It's not. It's gone very badly for America's middle class and working class. And the reset is coming. It's already here. So I'm looking forward to this in a big way. So we'll have a big trade day tomorrow. Canada has slapped tariffs on flamethrowers, manatee meat, fake beards, and live monkeys in response to Trump. So this is where they're at. John Hayward writes about this for us at Breitbart News. Canada slapped 25% tariffs on about 1,800 American products in March and going to implement 4,400 more. So they're fighting back. I just don't know if this is a good move for them. I just don't know. But some of the stuff they're doing is just totally stupid. Our manatee meat, though. Have you ever had a manatee meat? Are any of you into the obscure meat? I'm sure some of you guys are into the obscure meat. I haven't gotten on board with this yet. I feel like I've not eaten enough cows and chickens and pigs in my life for me to feel like I need to try the manatee. But some people are like that. One of my top guys, the front page, Ezra Doulis, he'll eat anything. The guy will eat. I've seen that guy eat a chicken. He eats the chicken leg, so you're getting all the cartilage off of the chicken. Some of you have someone in your family like this. He will refuse to leave even a morsel of chicken on the bone. The bone will be completely stripped clean. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people do it. I feel like it's not for me. Maybe I just grew up in a certain area. But manatee meat, and then also, they're working on passenger drones. Now, the passenger drones thing is interesting. And there's a lot of discussion online about how China now is doing passenger drones. And China's all propaganda, so I don't take it literally. But you do have to wonder how much of our time is spent innovating on stupid stuff. This is one of my obsessions as an individual, how I don't get good cell service from my house. And yet we have we have worked so hard for all these technologies on these apps that are just making us unhappy. We spend all this time trying to develop these apps and make us glued to our phone, antisocial, we're losing social skills. But then I can't just pick up my phone and make a work call without having to shuffle around into different parts of my life. Why aren't we focusing on technologies that we need? It's like I don't necessarily need some of the things that where all the war technology in particular. It's are we benefiting from only focusing on that? It feels like a lot of our industrial class is focused on just war technologies. Well, we keep getting into these wars that end up wasting a lot of blood and treasure. Could I at least be able to talk on my cell phone? The passenger drones would be really interesting because they sound far-fetched, dangerous, but I live in an area where we have oppressive levels of traffic that you are completely limited. If you are someone who likes personal freedom, then the amount of traffic in the area I live is just totally unsustainable. And we want to have more freedom in this country because that's where innovation takes place and that's where things can truly improve. So anyway, let's see if the manatee meat reciprocal trade works out. I don't think it's going to. We can't impose the same level of trade on the manatee meat as they impose on us because we don't export any manatee meat. Some of you in the audience, if you know, aloha@alexmarlow.com. If you've had manatee, how is it? It seems very fat. It's known as the sea cow. Not great branding. Not great branding for the sea cow. This has been done in the past, and it's been noted that the sea cow branding probably was not something they chose, the manatee. All right. Big news going on currently is Cory Booker is speaking on the Senate floor, and he's been going all night, and he's been speaking about how bad Trump is. He has been talking about all these horrible things Trump is doing. It's been going on for like 20 hours or something. I don't know. Is he going to the bathroom? I don't even look that stuff up because it's just gross if he's got a diaper on or something. And so I don't really want to think about it, but I don't know if he can leave the floor. So I just don't. It's not a filibuster. It's just his Spartacus routine. President Booker, who of course, wants to be president, has run for president, has run very poorly for president. We're 13 hours in, and we don't know why he's doing it. So we're trying to sort it out. Breitbart News will have ongoing coverage of this. But he is saying that I'm doing this because I'm here to do my job as a senator from New Jersey to lift voices of Americans who are harmed by President Trump. I'm speaking up. Okay, I'll play some of it. Tell me if you're inspired. Tell me if you're inspired here.
$1 billion from Medicaid, only to give tax cuts to the wealthiest, disproportionately go to the wealthiest. How can you in good conscience, if you're a fiscal hawk, if you're a Christian conservative, how could you hurt the weak to benefit the rich and powerful? That is the answer to your question. The people of the United States of America, all of us, have to stand up and say, no, not on my watch. I'm a Republican, I'm a veteran, I'm a police officer, I'm a firefighter, I'm a teacher. Not in America. We won't allow this.
It's just great because it's just all platitudes, but he says it so emphatically. It's fun to watch as someone who talks into a microphone for a living because there's depending on the format you're in, because you guys know I do a lot of talking in a lot of different formats. And there's some formats where you're on a Fox News hit or something, and you're going to have 45, maybe 75 seconds to give an answer. And so you're better off kind of prepping and having a sense of what you're going to say. And they usually ask you about something else and you got to throw it out. But you're trying to be you don't want to miss a syllable in that context. But then you've got stuff where you've got a 3-hour radio show, and periodically you'll have slept through your first alarm, and then you'll be hustling upstairs and you'll realize you're about to do a 3-hour show. You don't really know what you're going to say. And it really is a gift for you to just roll and just say absolutely nothing for a long period of time. So I'm admiring of that. So some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you know. So you're hearing like, this guy's going, and it's just like, what has he got? Let's play this again. I was distracted by the presentation. I didn't really even look at the context, but he's wearing a black suit like he's going to a funeral. I'm sure that's intentional. He's waving his glasses around wildly. He's got these really big dramatic eyes like he's doing some sort of Shakespearean play, which is, I guess, how he relates to the world. Let's see it again.
$100 billion from Medicaid, only to give tax cuts to the wealthiest, disproportionately go to the wealthiest. How can you in good conscience, if you're a fiscal hawk, if you're a Christian conservative, how could you hurt the weak to benefit the rich and powerful? That is the answer to your question. The people of the United States of America, all of us, have to stand up and say, no, not on my watch. I'm a Republican. I'm a veteran. I'm a police officer. I'm a firefighter. I'm a teacher. Not in America. We won't allow this.
It's a great rhetorical tactic. Start listing stuff because it lets your brain catch up. So we're going from Wall Street to Main Street. All the firefighters, all the doctors, all the nurses, all the bus drivers, all the teachers. You start listing jobs, and it just takes all this time. So notice when politicians do that, it means they got nothing. It means his brain is like he's ran out of ideas. He's just catching up. But look, he's got a role for a long time, I guess. I don't know what point he's making, other than I guess pointing out. We're going to point out he did that. So it's this whole myth that Trump is looking out for the wealthy when he's actually taking steps that are keeping the stock market neutral, maybe even lower a little bit so he can bring back manufacturing. That's helping the middle and working classes. That's helping the wage growth of normal Americans. And it's being framed as he's going to do tax cuts for the rich. I don't think he's going to do tax cuts for the rich. I don't know. It's like, I'm pro tax cuts all the time. This is one of the things I've retained from my National Review reading days as a youth. I still want to cut all taxes all the time because I think the government just wastes money and it's just nonstop. And I think we should just cut from now on. And if we want more money, we should take it from somewhere else. We should never raise revenues, as far as I'm concerned, for the Treasury. Treasury's got enough. They need to work it out. That's my take. But it's the thought that his plan is just purely to serve the rich is, of course, demagoguery. It's not real. He's trying his best to lower prices by tapping our energy sector. These are the same guys that led to the Biden inflation by intentionally stopping drilling, stopping oil leases, not letting us tap natural resources, and of course, pushing all of the manufacturing overseas. So anyway, this is I think the messaging is key. Does he have a message? And that's not what I'm seeing right now. Let's check this.
Reading until I know the prayer. I'm going to keep going. I want to talk about environmental protections and how this country is becoming less safe for people with emphysema or with asthma, because Donald Trump is rolling back common sense environmental protections.
The problem is in this country is we eat way too much, we drink too much, we're too sedentary, we're stuck on our phones. We get all worked up on social media, and then we can't interact as the same way we could. Young people are not learning basic social skills. Our schools are getting worse. It's not emphysema and asthma. It's not it. I'm not saying that there's not some of it, but it's the problem is the solutions are not what he's going to say to our health issues. And if they are, then Trump couldn't have done anything the first 8 weeks, and they had the White House for 8 years. He's now assumed this posture where he has his glasses down the bridge of his nose, which I always love this because there's just anyone who ever does this, you never like them more. And yet people insist on having this look where their glasses slide down their nose and they're looking above their glasses. And I assume it's a reading thing, so you could look down and you can read. So I'm sure there's some practical purpose, but it just in terms of the optics, have you ever liked someone more because their glasses are down the edge of their nose while they're reading? Probably not.
threatening our children's future and hurting our nation's economy, energy costs in America are continuing to rise, making it harder and harder for working families to pay their bills. And at a time that we should be investing in clean energy, this administration is canceling projects that would create more jobs for Americans and lower energy prices. He claims he supports an all-of-the-above strategy, but that's clearly not what we're seeing. And
it's not clearly what we're seeing. I mean, you guys did nothing to help our energy sector. He's not talking about good stuff. This is my point, is that they need to find a message, and I think it's got to be beyond Musk is bad and Jeffrey Goldberg shouldn't be in Signal chats. I think they need to do more than that. You know what they really should be talking about? They should be talking about spectrum. Now, this is a big deal. You guys know the media is completely broken on this issue. And for decades, big cable and legacy media have filtered information to hide the truth. But thanks to podcasts like this one, new media, the truth can break through. But providing voices and views that the legacy media outlets block from the air has got to be a priority. And big cable doesn't want that. Big cable has one major way to control information, and it's access. They do this by limiting access to something called spectrum, the invisible airwaves that power affordable wireless internet. And by forcing you into these bundled cable, et cetera, they're keeping independent media out of reach. It's such a big deal, guys. Do you know how much these networks, cable, et cetera, they benefit from having these bundled deals where they're just piped into your home and you're not even really thinking about it? One advantage is over a company like mine where you have to make a conscious decision to get our content is really big. And Trump and Republicans have a chance to get this right by making more spectrum available. So this helps big cable, breaking big cable stranglehold on information. And you guys know part of the reason why people are on the networks they're on is because they're easy to get. And this access is crucial. And that's why if Republicans compel President Trump to sell some more spectrum, we got a chance to fight back. So you tell your senator, your member of Congress, work with President Trump to sell more spectrum. Tell your senators right now, Congress people, whatever it is, work with President Trump, sell more spectrum. This will help benefit new media. It's a big deal. And one of these things where I think this is going to come up a lot more on the broadcast with the spectrum stuff. Because last time I was in D.C., there to meet with President Trump and others. But the time before then, I was there. It's like this was all the conversation because people feel like there could be a real gold rush here, particularly for new media, if the spectrum gets sold. So it's a big deal. And you know, if Booker starts talking about spectrum, I'll give him some more air on the show. But he's going for 13 hours. We'll keep you posted on that. It's the problem is their messaging is not great. It's like you see all of the Tesla stuff that's going on. A woman now has shattered a Tesla windshield, spit on an EMT trying to help her. Pam Bondi has now announced that she's going to do federal charges against Tesla firebombing. There's one story after the next. It just shows you how nuts and how violent these people are. That they think the solution to Musk cutting government is to vandalize electric vehicles. It's a total freak out. And that's why there's no way this is helping them overall in the polls, is it? It can't be. So, here's a guy, Cooper Joe Frederick, facing federal charges for allegedly firebombing the Loveland, Texas dealership on March 7th. This guy looks like he's got huge white privilege looking at him. Well, his name's Cooper. It's kind of a tell. Not a lot of Coopers that don't have white privilege, probably. And he's got, it's just Pam Bondi says, if you take part the wave of domestic terror against Tesla, we'll find you, arrest you, we'll put you behind bars. And that's great. That's what we want. It's important, though, to keep emphasizing this in the media, that this is going on, that people are so upset that Elon Musk is breaking their racket. And that's what it is. It's a racket. Is all this government money. The best example of all time is the Stacey Abrams one, where she had no experience in this matter. She had a $100 NGO, and then she got $2 billion, and it got distributed to Democrat activist groups. It's one of these things where it revealed the whole game. The whole game is the outrage over Doge, is that this is how the Democrats sustain themselves, how they give people jobs, how they create a buzz for themselves, how they feather their own nests. That's what's going on. And that's what Musk does, is a threat to, and that's why they're doing what they can to try to block it. So they're lacking the cohesion in terms of what they're saying to compel people. So they're trying anything they can. They're trying to filibuster. They're trying to firebomb. But that's why we got to just keep exposing them. Let's see. I've got Misty has dutifully pulled for me some Lefty clips. I got to play some of these. This is what's going on online. Here's an example of what we're up against.
I will speak loud for those who cannot speak. I'm a proud he, she, they, them, whatever. I am a boyfriend to a beautiful woman. I am a girlfriend to a handsome trans man.
Okay, those of you who are missing the visuals, and I'll do this again, this is a large man, someone who looks like a WWE pro wrestling character. And there are some folding chairs there in the back, if you can see the visuals. He's got a beard. He's got dyed long blonde hair. He's wearing a dress. He seems to have breasts of some kind. I don't know if that's just because he's a fat person. I don't get it, but it's very odd. He's also got an Apple Watch, it looks like. That's fun. It's he's so nonconformist, but he's got an Apple Watch. That's good. It's fun to observe these things. Look, you guys, I'm an audio guy. I listen to the show on audio, but if you're not getting the visuals, you do miss out on some of the stuff because we try to make it a visual show. And also today I've got my reverse studio going because I'm in heavy research mode right now. So I just, every second that I'm not doing doing essential work for Breitbart and for the shows, etc., I'm researching. I'm coming to the end of a huge project that I will of course tell you guys all about very soon. But so I do my usual setup because I need to stay locked in. So immediately I'll go lock back right into research once I'm done with the show today. But you get to see kind of my environment, which is fun. You can see right behind me. Let me I'm going to clear the screen here so people can see it. Like right there, you can see. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to point properly. Right there. Those of you watching on the screens where I'm pointing, that's my Juvent pad. It's here. So you guys know what great sponsors Juvent's been. And you can go over there, juvent.com/Marlow, JUVENT.com/Marlow. And it's really important because we've seen a friend, parent, maybe even yourself, moving a little slower, skipping workouts, avoiding the stairs because of pain or joint stiffness. And the reality is your mobility, it doesn't just vanish overnight, slows over decades. And by the time you notice, probably too late. And that's why you got to take your health seriously. Juvent's got a 60-second bone and joint health risk assessment. Helps you understand what's happening in your body before it's too late. In less than a minute, you'll get a personalized score and real steps that you can take to stay active and strong and independent. And it's one of those things you'll wish you did sooner. So you can take the quiz now, juvent.com, JUVENT.com/Marlow. Your future mobility depends on this. And it is important that you get on top of stuff. So I got it right there. You can see it. So see how easy it is for me. And I got it set up. You can't see it, but I got it by a window. So then I can look out the window, do a call. It's nice. All right, let's get back to our new non-binary friend here, trying to explain. You guys are going to love this. If this is a troll, I got to caveat this. I'm glad I thought of this. There is a significant possibility that I'm getting rolled here on this, and Misty's getting rolled because Misty presented it to me. But it's worth it because this is awesome. Let's check it.
I will speak loud for those who cannot speak. I'm a proud he, she, they, them, whatever. I am a boyfriend to a beautiful woman. I am a girlfriend to a handsome trans man. And I am also a girlfriend to an incredibly beautiful woman.
So you got to give this guy credit because if he's real, that he's got he's got a girlfriend, a boyfriend, and a trans friend. Do they call it trans friend? Is that a thing? Wow. So this is where you feel like, yeah, we got to be getting trolled to some degree, right? This has got to be a right-wing plant. Okay, let's keep going.
One of the first things we learn in a healthy family is trust. And unfortunately, some parents don't trust their children when they say, this is me. And they make that decision for them.
He said the magic word, which is children. So hold that thought.
That may make the child fearful from the people that claim to be trying to protect them.
Yeah. So you see this. So this is what the trans agenda is about, breaking up the family. There's deep sexual fetishism in there. And it's all a sex thing. That's what I concluded, is that this is how these people get off. And that's what you just remind people of that when they're grooming your children at school. So, but they're talking about children. They're openly talking about children, which is where you cross the line. It really is. I was having a conversation with someone who's not in my world about the Dylan Mulvaney stuff, and why I think people reacted so negatively to it. I think because Dylan Mulvaney, the trans person, who got on, the AB InBev, the Budweiser, the cans. I think part of the outrage was that his audience is young people. So, and I think that that's part of the problem. It's not that I'm not sitting around thinking about Caitlyn Jenner all the time. It's not, I met Caitlyn Jenner. He's a nice guy, confused, but also I'm content to let Caitlyn Jenner just live his life. I'm not trying to think about it. I'm not trying to, spend a lot of time on it. But when you start elevating people who are transing the kids, then that's where the problems come in. And, it seems like that the Budweiser people made an earnest effort to undo some of that. So I'm not picking on them at all. They did make it seems like they were trying to make amends. But my point overall is that when you come to the trans stuff, you can't cross in the children's. And that's what this guy, this clear predator or conservative plant, start talking about the kids. But it makes me think maybe it's a plant. But it's still, that there is someone like it. If he isn't a plant. So we got to keep an eye on that. More Lefty online meltdowns worth playing. Check this out.
Ethnic cleansing. That's what this is. Just like wartime, where you had to queue up and prove that you were pure enough to be able to live. And now we have to queue up and have a test to see whether we're female enough to take part in female sports. Absolutely disgusting behavior.
Gender GP. So I got to figure this out. So this is someone who wants, I guess, more men beating women in sports. I did that. I did not intentionally play that one, but it's still noteworthy that that's their mindset. They will not be satisfied until men beat women in every sport. Every podium spot goes to a man. Then they'll be happy. They'll finally be satisfied. You got to take stuff to the logical conclusion. Where do things go? So again, but I missed the boat on this one. I should have been rooting for men to dominate women's sports. I feel like one college is going to have to step up and recruit all men to the women's basketball team, have them wear wigs, and then just start, racking up 150 points a game against the women and beat then it will stop. So one college, you got to step up. Do we know, is there a college that we think would do this? We got to have one college step up, give scholarships, full boats, plus NIL money, name, image, likeness money to, 5 to 7 great male college basketball players, and then have them win the women's NCAA championship. And once that happens, we'll be done. This will be over. So that's it. We can solve this. It'll only take 1 year to do it. So we got to do it. Let's get on it. Some schools going to have to step up. All right, I got one more.
I think conservative ideology after this can never be a thing anymore. Having a group of people who all believe in the exact opposite of progress, it just doesn't work in terms of progressing as a society. It just doesn't. You can't have one.
So this is one thing that's interesting about these young people, these Gen Z people who go on TikTok and opine. These are not ready for primetime ideas. And I just am so relieved that this wasn't the culture for me, because I'm very lucky that I get to communicate and share my ideas with lots of audiences like you guys every day. And it's a blessing, but I wasn't ready to do this when I was 21, 22. I had a podcast in college, and, I really had to think about stuff, I would say. And it was not great. I think it was all right, I guess, but people liked it. But I couldn't just get out my camera and just roll. And you start saying stuff like the problem with being conservative is not progressive, which is against progress. It's not, you don't sound very smart doing that. And so it'd be nice if people could just continue to grow up, spend more time reading, thinking, learning, observing. And then maybe when you get a little bit older, then you're ready to share your ideas. There's some exceptions. There's some unbelievable young people these days in terms of communication. Carolyn Levitt's an amazing example. The press secretary is 27. So that's new, because I think people are getting more reps online, having to present their ideas and defend their ideas. It's overall maybe could be a positive, but there's no obligation for you to just get out there and put your camera on if you sound like an idiot. So feel free to protect your children and encourage them to not put every idea they have online.
You can't have one group of people that are working actively against progress and expect them not to eventually stoop to these levels. I don't think it's a coincidence that it always ends up here. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that they consistently start to lose in history, and then they throw out the playbook and just start doing some really evil, heinous shit for 50 years to get people really, really, like, it's fucking, it's disgusting. It's evil. These are evil people.
I'll have to encourage Misty to use the bleep button here. But it's they lose their mind, and they're in this very swear word era where they're trying to get people passionate, and they're doing the passion stuff by just melting down and swearing, which is just not. I don't think this is persuasive, is it, at this point?
Evil people. They're evil. They just are. Not necessarily the people that have been manipulated into following it, the people causing this. The ideology itself is evil. It just is. I don't mean like a biblical evil. It's textbook evil. And I don't think it should be allowed to be around anymore. And I don't think that's an insane take to have, actually. I don't think it's an insane take to be like, hey.
So on the screen, you can see, why should conservatives be allowed to exist? So that's the take, ranting about evil. So this person's got no power, but I'm just showing you where the left goes if you leave them to their own devices. That you're all evil, it should not be allowed, we should ban conservatism.
Like, hey, these evil people throughout history who have all done the exact same shit over and over again, why don't we just stamp out everything they stand for? Everything they stand, like, it should be so easy to look at these people the second they start spewing any of this shit, to look at these people in society and go, hey, stone them. Something to that effect. Like,
there it is. That's why I waited for it. So he wants to stone conservatives. So we're going to stone conservatives, and I don't know who this genius is. We don't need to emphasize who he is, but just know this is what's going on online, is on left-wing circles. I'm optimistic this does not work out, but when you see a rash of violence, when you see people firebombing Tesla dealerships, just be aware that this is what's occurring, that there's a radicalization that's taking place for, I guess, internet clout on the left, where they're actually talking about conservatives not existing and stoning them. So it's gnarly stuff. I'd love to meet this guy's parents.
In fact, like, do something to these people that are just causing chaos. That they exist to hold people back, lift 4 people forward while holding billions back. Like, that's what they exist to do.
Brilliant.
And we're just going to let that be. That's just going to keep happening always, forever. It's just going to keep happening over and over again. Cool.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Lena Dunham has resurfaced. She was the former star of the HBO show Girls, which she also wrote and had some other movies, and it was dubbed the voice of a generation, one of the wokest feminist millennials, caricature of millennial. And she's put on about 1,000 pounds, and she is now railing against horrific government abuses at Trans Visibility Rally. Trans liberation is our liberation. They're just obsessed. They can't take the L on this one. They can't take the L. We've written about her many times in the past, and she's really mad at Breitbart. We uncovered she falsely claimed when she was in college she got raped by a Republican, and she wrote about this in a book. And we went to her college and we investigated, and we realized it was totally false. That was a John Nolte joint. So she's always been bothered by us, I'm sure. Her career did not do well after that. They tried to fight through it with her, but she's kind of fallen out of favor. But everyone said that she was the voice of my generation, which I always resented that. I always thought that was kind of forced. I'm not saying she's a dumb person, but she certainly has some really bad ideas. And I think that she's struggling. She's lost. But they're just dying on this trans hill. Luckily, we won. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered sex-neutral fitness standards for combat arms. It's really important because there's so many brave and talented young women who are inclined to do this stuff where they go into the armed forces. And I'm not in a position where I want to totally dismiss them or dismiss that. But the bottom line is you got to carry a lot of stuff. You should be able to carry people. You should be able to carry people for some distance. And so you need to have a standard that does not grade on a curve for women. It's on a personal, emotional level, I certainly am grading on a curve for women, and I'm very impressed when women are very physically brave and physically strong for women. But that's not really the point when you're in wartime. The wartime is, can you lift X, Y, or Z stuff, particularly a person, a certain distance. That's a big deal. So I think just making sure it's gender neutral, sex neutral, whatever it is. So those are the standards, and that's how you got to do it. Makes sense to me. There is some evidence, though, that sanity might be being restored. So the White Lotus, do you guys watch the White Lotus? Does anyone in this audience? You have to email me if you do, aloha@alexmarlow.com, because I love the White Lotus. I think it's my favorite show. And it's on HBO. It's very adult themes. It's kind of half comedy, half murder mystery. Usually it's got really interesting characters always. It's in its third season right now. And this guy, Mike White, who is the genius behind it, he's I think he's like bisexual. It seems like a very strange guy. He did School of Rock, a bunch of other stuff you guys have seen over the years. But I'll tell you, he doesn't strike me as woke, and he never has. And the show's always, I think, played with non-woke themes. For example, the first 2 seasons, the gay guys were the villains. So for 2 straight seasons back to back, he made gay men villains and got it on HBO. So that's not a small thing. That's real, because that would have been unthinkable 15, 20 years ago, where you make the gay guys the bad guys. So I'm a couple episodes behind, so don't fill me in if you're getting carried away by what I'm saying. But one of the stars of the show for this season said that a non-binary who may have been a trans child was cut from the show after Trump was elected. And I don't know why this person, Carrie Coon, who's an actress, and I don't know, I think she's been in a bunch of stuff, but anyway, I only recognize her from this show. But she said that there's a trans character in and got cut after Trump won. So Trump wins, and people start all of a sudden getting their minds screwed on right. And it's very good. It's all useful for these little culture war victories, I think, are really, really big. But we still have our big headwinds coming from the lawfare side of the left, which continues to be their most powerful weapon against us. Appeals court has denied Trump a Trump request to enforce military transgender ban. So this is another one. U.S. District Judge Benjamin Settle issued a preliminary injunction putting on hold members of the military's new policy of identifying and discharging any trans service members. So again, we see this again. So this is the U.S. Court of Appeals, Ninth Circuit, one of the most left-wing courts around. And this is how this works with judge shopping. You file stuff to a court you feel like is gonna help you, and it cracks down on it. So this is, as of yesterday, yet another injunction on a Trump effort. So it's becoming a global craze as well. We mentioned yesterday quite a bit on the show, Marine Le Pen in France fighting a ban from her French election. So she's saying the French election is now being stolen by the lawfare ruling that is going to potentially put her in prison instead of letting her run for president and potentially win. So this is really nefarious, what's going on. Another judge extended Biden administration's amnesty for 5,300 Venezuelan migrants. This is fresh as of this morning. TPS, temporary protected status, 530,000, not 5,300, my goodness. 530,000, including Tren de Aragua gangsters, according to Neil Monroe, who's our resident border expert at Breitbart. U.S. District Court Judge Edward Chen in California saying that they have the right to be here. And Stephen Miller responded, this is what we meant by judicial tyranny. Biden's mass imported illegals from Venezuela, including criminals, gave them welfare and Social Security numbers. President Trump won an election promising to end the invasion. A rogue Marxist judge just ordered Biden's amnesty continued. So any of you who have seen the news know that there's deep insecurity about the economy going on right now. Inflation's still off the charts. Dollars in a nosedive. Stock market might be in some sort of a downward trend or a correction or something like that. It's unpredictable. But you're not wrong if you're a little bit worried. So here's the thing. While all this chaos is happening, gold has absolutely taken off. Over 40% since last January, another 11% so far in 2025. It's rocketed past $3,000 an ounce. Goldman Sachs thinks it's going to $3,300 this year. You've heard me say this. I think they're underselling it. I think it could be even more. And silver might do even better because there's red hot industrial demand in Trump's economy. So here's the part that you really need to hear. You can add physical gold and silver to your IRA or 401k right now, tax and penalty free. So my friends, Priority Gold They've given you a free gold and silver guide. It's gold and silver info guide, tells you all about it, lays out market forecasts, smart strategies that work for you. They'll help you personalize it with the Q&A so you can shield your retirement from all the craziness. And if things continue the way they're doing, you're going to grow your wealth quite a bit as well. So don't wait. You can go to prioritygold.com, or text freedom to 24999, and you can find out how gold and silver can help strengthen your portfolio today. It's really that simple. Just click below. My friends at Priority Gold will send you the guide, and you can see for yourself how you can benefit from the solid investments in gold and silver. It's prioritygold.com, or text freedom to 24999. The media is starting to fight back on this. They've latched on to this guy, Kilmer Armando Aburgo Garcia, who is being framed as a Maryland father who was on one of these deportation flights headed to El Salvador with a lot of Tren de Aragua, MS-13 gangsters and the like. And the media is just framing him as a Maryland father. But if you look into it, he's not a citizen, and he's being referred to as a legal resident by the media, even though he had an asylum claim that was denied. And he also has a history of missing hearings. He's failed to appear at court proceedings in the past. But the media is portraying him as some sort of a saint because he married a U.S. citizen and he has a 5-year-old son who's disabled, which is a very interesting card to play, that the left now cares about disabled children when they are unanimous in their desire to allow for unlimited rights for families to abort their disabled children in the womb. So once if the child is disabled and you learn about it by an ultrasound during a pregnancy, then the left encourages you basically to terminate that child's life. But if the child is born, and perhaps born to an illegal alien, and is somehow a tool that they can use to attack Trump, then all of a sudden now they like the disabled child. So just note that that's a reality about the world we're in right now. But this guy had no legal status in the United States, and he had a temporary right to maybe not be removed specifically to this El Salvador jail. So maybe he should have been able to have an interview before. But just note that, to me, this is an exception that proves the rule, and is so important for us to hold the line. And the default has to be the illegal aliens must go. If you are here and you broke our law to be here, you had no right to be here. And the default is you're going to be removed. And if there is somehow some exception that's legitimate, then we can worry about that after the fact. So wrongs can be righted, but right now we've defaulted way too many times to people have the right to be here. They claim asylum, they're allowed to stay, and we are in baseball. The tie goes to the runner. We've had tie go to the illegal alien for the last 30 years in this country, and it's led to a massive invasion. It's led to fentanyl overdoses. It's led to a less cultural cohesion in this country. It's led to lower wages for the working class. It's led to more crime. All that stuff. All the stuff we've talked about as long as I've had a microphone. So now the default needs to be you do not have legal status, you must leave. And if we find an exception and there's some technicality where you deserve to be here, then sorry, mea culpa, you can come back. So that's it. Another illegal alien convicted for deadly semi-truck crash, and he's going to be deported. But it'd be nice to find these people before the deadly semi-truck crash. And that's why, even though maybe this Albergo guy is a terrific guy, shouldn't have come here illegally, shouldn't have missed his hearings. But for every one of those, there's 55 guys who did careless driving resulting in a death, and an illegal alien truck driver. Ignacio Cruz Mendoza, caught by ICE after deadly truck driver incident, and then now he's going to have to. Now I guess he's going to be deported, but he's deported too late after someone's dead. So we like to do the deportations beforehand. I'll tell you, if Trump gets this right, I think he could be heading to Mount Rushmore. Don't you guys think that? Doug Burgum has said there's certainly room for Trump on Mount Rushmore. I'm all for entertaining all this stuff. I brought this up on yesterday's show. I just don't want to live in a world anymore where we just assume that just because something is the way it is, it will always be that way. I like the notion of we are free to reconsider things the way they are. And if Trump sticks with his agenda and he cuts the government at the rate that we're talking about, if he enforces our border, if he taps our energy sector, if he keeps us out of wars, it could be one of these things where a perfect slate, if Trump does a perfect job, and he could, why wouldn't he be amongst our 5 top presidents of all time? So I'm into it. And I love how Burgum's like, oh yeah, we could pull that off for sure. That sounds good to us. Okay, so I got a Jasmine Crockett. I got a Crockett Rocket. You guys want it? Do you want it? I got to guess. Let's do it. This will be our dessert. This will be those little cookies they sometimes bring at the fancy restaurant at the end of the meal if they didn't ask for them. Here we go. I got a Crockett clip. Let's see. I didn't even know what's in it, but I know I asked for this a while back.
And if we continue to put people into office, and that even means some of our skinfolk who definitely are not our kinfolk, such as Byron Donalds, who are going to continue to say that, like, I mean, the fact that you sitting around talking about life was better under Jim Crow, like, is
so you get that the skin folk who are not our kinfolk, meaning that's like an Uncle Thomas, a racial slur. So you're talking about Byron Donalds and her street language. You guys know she doesn't. It's all performance art. She does not need to talk like she's from the hood. She was highly educated at prep school. You played that clip of her where she sounds very normal. Ratchet Jasmine Crockett is a character. She's playing a character, and it's getting her a lot of media appearances. And that's why she's got her own makeup room in her congressional office, because she's Queen Jasmine. That's how she thinks of herself. I'm changing the spelling of her name. It's no longer Jas. We're doing it Jazz. I'm telling the team at Breitbart, Jazz, Jasmine Crockett. That's it, because she's jazzy.
Like, is this because you don't understand history? Or literally it's because you married a white woman and so you think that whitewashed you? I'm not really sure.
So now he's attacking Byron Donalds for marrying a white woman. Is Byron Donalds married to a white woman? I guess maybe he is. It's the, it is, I'm blown away at the naked racism and how this would have been such a scandal if a Republican had said this about a Democrat. It would have been such an unbelievable scandal. And yeah, I guess Byron Donalds has a white wife. I didn't know. See, this is a whole thing that we don't care. Normal people don't care about skin color. What makes us care about it is when these race hucksters come out there. This type of stuff would be here from Al Sharpton 20 years ago.
Like what it is.
Well, but you couldn't even be married to a white woman under Jim
Correct. Correct. And it took Joy to call him out. So I'm like, bruh, like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you saying? Like, he just out here, you know, I feel like they give him his talking points and he's like, yes, massa, I got it.
Yes, massa, I got it. Just relentless racial attacks. I hope Byron Donalds uses it. So I hope he uses that to his advantage. Man, see, that was a classic. That was a race bait. That was 50 seconds. You got at least 3 legitimate racist comments in there. All right, the racism coming from their side, it's just so depressing. Can you imagine walking around living that way? We're talking about cutting the government. We're talking about deportations. We're having fun over here. We're going to crack down on Canada's so desperate, they're now going to raise tariffs on manatee meat. You guys going to fill me in? Aloha@alexmarlow.com. If you need the manatee meat. If you guys are really depressed about the manatee meat tariffs. All right, that's good. That's good for now. Thanks to Misty for producing the show. Thanks for all of you in the Breitbart audience. Don't miss our Fight Club shows. We'll be back with some Liberation Day content for you tomorrow, some election results. So it should be good stuff. All right. Thanks for watching and listening.